Now, believe it or not, according to some reports, there are some 51 million senior gamers out there today. That's as many senior gamers as the entire population of South Korea. Senior gamers, I salute you. But for those seniors who may be new to video games and want to play something really good, I want to recommend what I think is the best video game ever made for senior gamers. Fallout 4 by Bethesda Studios. Now, I'm defining senior gamers as baby boomers, or those born between the years 1946 through 1964. We are all between 77 and 59 years old. I myself am a 62-year-old gamer. So-called experts on old people say video games are actually good for seniors. It's supposed to help old-timers like us remember where we left the car keys and stuff like that. So get out there and play, seniors. But if you look at the market for video game sales, you can see that game developers simply don't make games for senior citizens. Obviously, video games are largely written by young people for young people. The best games out there are made for the 18 to 34-year-olds. These, my fellow senior gamers, are the games you want to be playing. Now, Fallout 4 is not a new game. It came out in 2015, but it's a classic in the world of gaming. It's a game made for baby boomers because central to the game's story is the communist threat, the Red Scare, the Cold War. There were the Chinese communists, the Red communists in Red Square, the missiles, the posturing. I mean, just look at those things. People our age know exactly what fallout shelters were made for. We also grew up seeing the rise of technology and science and the promise of new scientific horizons. We all lived under the dark cloud of an all-out thermonuclear war that could happen at any moment. And that's why Fallout 4 is made for baby boomers. It will also force you, Mr. and Mrs. Senior Gamer, to debate deep political and moral questions as you rebuild civilization. What is the best form of government? What is the best balance between technology and human beings? What does it even mean to be human? And it reminds us of an important truth about life, that cooperation is necessary to achieve the common good. The game starts us off with a familiar story, the dropping of the bomb on Hiroshima, and the Doctor Strangelove world that came afterward. In the game's alternative history, humanity learned to harness nuclear technology and science to create domestic worker robots, hydrogen-powered cars, and computers. But of course, as we seniors all know, the world is a dangerous and unstable place. In Fallout 4, it's the year 2077, and you are living in Boston, Massachusetts. China invades Alaska and triggers all-out nuclear war. We can see in the game how the events of 2077 look a lot like things did back in the 1950s, don't they? As a player, you are married, in your 30s, you have a baby boy, and live in a nice house in the suburbs. Remember that Reagan quote?
I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.
Well, the government agent sells you a space in Vault 111, a fallout shelter built to survive the big kaboom. No sooner do you buy space at Vault 111 than you hear this. Every baby boomer's greatest fear. So you run out of the house with your wife, baby in arms, to Vault 111. And just as you get there, it happens. We grew up with this nightmare scenario, didn't we, fellas? In Fallout 4, it actually happens, and you were there. This being a government fallout shelter, terrible things will happen to your family down there. And you will emerge back to the surface over 200 years later to find what is left of Boston. The Commonwealth is as bad as you'd expect following thermonuclear war. It's a wasteland. You will find yourself befriending and fighting alongside characters like Strong, or this hot babe, or this robot butler, because down there, in the wastelands, it's pretty violent. You, Mr. and Mrs. Senior Gamer, are gonna have to do a lot of killing. You will do battle with behemoths. Mutant dogs. Look at that thing. Synthetic gorillas. Creatures called super mutant enforcers. Kaboom! I wish I had one of those in real life. This thing here. There's lots of action and danger. You're a badass with mini nuclear bombs. Kaboom! Robots. More robots. But this is also a political game. You're going to have to figure out what form of government is best for the Commonwealth. You must decide which of the 4 political factions will rule the Commonwealth. The first faction is called the Institute. They are led by this guy.
I am Father. Welcome to the Institute.
They want to replace human beings with artificial ones and believe they are humanity's best hope for the future. They do terrible things like kidnap settlers and conduct genetic experiments on them. You can decide for yourself if they are evil or not. You could say that the Institute represents the corporate and scientific elites who think they know best. They control technology and upset the social balance in the Commonwealth with their inventions. Having created artificial human beings, they create the moral dilemma of the game. Are these lifelike synths human beings? Do they have rights? Can they be treated as slaves? The Institute is opposed by the second faction. The Railroad. They fashioned themselves after the Underground Railroad of the American slave era.
The group that calls themselves the Railroad have acquired several synths for the Institute. Synths that had gone missing in recent months. They no doubt mean to free these synths, in their delusion that synths are somehow sentient beings. So you're aware of their misguided beliefs?
Please, work with us instead of the Minutemen. The lives of many synths are at stake. The synths are tangible receptacles of their hatred of the Institute. Order them to help, and they'd mutiny.
I don't know.
Take your time. Think it over.
Desdemona reminds me of Nancy Pelosi.
Synths are not your enemy. They are victims in this war as well. True, they were created by the Institute, but they were created as slaves. Thinking, feeling, and dreaming beings, utterly oppressed by their tyrannical masters. So join with us in fighting the real enemy, the Institute.
And if you think artificial human beings are a long way off, take a look at this. This 2023 robot looks suspiciously like the synths in Fallout 4, which was made in 2015. Now, the Railroad embraces the politics of identity. They are post-apocalyptic uber-liberals. Their entire political agenda is the liberation of the synths, and they don't think much beyond that. Now, depending on your politics, this might be the faction for you. The third faction is the Brotherhood of Steel. They are highly militaristic and possess awesome pre-war military technology like this flying airship. How this chunk of metal stays up there, I'll never know. They consider themselves the guardians of the Commonwealth, protecting them from the evils of the Institute. They think they know what's best for the people. They are led by this guy.
Intelligence tells us you've infiltrated the Institute. and liberated a valuable holotape from their facility. I'm quite disappointed you chose to build the signal interceptor without the Brotherhood. Good luck, Knight.
They have a spooky salute. Look at that. And they absolutely hate synths and want them all destroyed.
It's a machine. An automaton created by the Institute. It wasn't born from the womb of a loving mother. It was grown within the cold confines of a laboratory. Flesh is flesh. Machine is machine. The two were never meant to intertwine.
The Brotherhood of Steel represents the fascist political perspective. They believe that might makes right. It's the classic Mussolini police state. And in a post-apocalyptic world, perhaps it's best to align yourself with those who have the biggest guns. I'm just saying. So you have to decide if these guys are your cup of tea. The fourth faction are the
There's a
Minutemen.
group of raiders that won't leave us alone, stealing our food and supplies, threatening us if we can't give them what they want. We know where they're coming from, but we can't stand up to them ourselves.
And that's their problem. They are weak and passive, all about the past.
Stay sharp. Don't let your guard down.
This is their
Cleared
leader.
out the ghouls that were giving that settlement trouble.
Glad to hear it, General. It's hard enough out here without people having to worry about ghouls in their backyard. Got another thing to talk to you about. I'll mark the location on your map.
The settlers of the wasteland are in constant need of protection.
Don't worry, I'm here to rescue you.
Oh my God, thank you. Let's go.
So can we stop worrying about paying tribute to those raiders?
I hardly broke a sweat kicking their asses.
Thanks. It's good to know we can count on you guys when we're in trouble.
Those super mutants won't be bothering you again.
I guess you were the right person for the job, huh? Thanks, friend. By the way, we've decided to support the Minutemen. We've got to help each other if we want things to get better.
How about you?
As a Minuteman, you will spend a lot of time looking after settlers. The Minutemen represent the conservative political perspective. They want the Commonwealth to return to its agrarian roots, built on small farming communities banding together like the early American colonists. But life as a settler is depressing. It's dark, dirty, and dangerous. Compare the settlers' living conditions here to life at the Institute. Nice, eh? I'd rather live here. This just looks so depressing. Now, you can join this group if that's how you roll. It's up to you, Senior Gamer. You're the general. But it's not all killing and politics in Fallout 4. There are many things to see and do throughout the game. People to meet, quests to accomplish. There's even this really cool nightclub featuring this smoking hot jazz singer.
Out in the fence, had a talk with a man about some cans.
And you're going to meet a lot of unforgettable characters along the way. Because in the Commonwealth, as in real life, you need friends to get by.
But it's not. Because I was Nick Valentine.
Well, it's that, or get back to writing the paper.
I won't do that. But if you need me to take the fight anywhere else, I'll be there.
My identity is this human thing. Strong not need identity.
Is everything all right between us?
We are better than ever. I never knew life could be such bliss.
Put more simply, the recall code will render him unconscious even while he's still standing.
My body's telling me to get it over with. But what if the psycho's the only thing keeping me together?
Besides, I had to come up with every trick in the book to survive the capital wasteland.
Primary targets. Any and all red Chinese invaders.
I'm telling you, this game is tailor-made for senior gamers. It's got jazz singers, men in fedoras, political intrigue, a communist-hating robot, and more. It's even got synthetic gorilla meat. This game has it all. Endless hours of entertainment and excitement. Face it, seniors, in real life, nobody listens to what we think. We're old. But in Fallout 4, we can be young again, doing cool things, making all kinds of life and death decisions. The game will test your political thinking and push you to the edge of your moral limits. By the way, you get to flirt with her in the game, and she'll take you back to her place. She's pretty damn good, isn't she? These are the kinds of senior touches you find in this game.
I show my rings. I do the boys a favor.
You go, girl.
With all my manual labor, it's good to be a good neighbor.
Well, I want to be your neighbor. Whatever faction you ultimately side with will depend on your view of the world.
Elder, the detonator is primed and ready. Proctor Ingram has assured me that we'll be outside the blast radius. Press that button, and you not only defeat our enemy, you restore order and decency to the Commonwealth. It's time, Paladin. The Institute and their synth abominations must be eradicated.
As senior citizens, we've seen just about every form of government come and go, good and bad. The world has always been a mess. But in Fallout 4, you get to remake the world as you see fit. Your actions matter. And that's why Fallout 4 is the best video game ever made for senior gamers. So, if you're one of the 51 million senior gamers out there, let me know down below in the comments your thoughts about Fallout 4, what games you are playing, or what games you recommend to other seniors. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and play on, seniors. Play on.